Hello, it's Keith. Like I said, it's kind of plugged on, and I'm reviewing another episode of Teen Wolf. This one is episode 15 of season 6 of Teen Wolf, entitled Pressure Test. So this episode came out the same night as Face to Faceless. I didn't put up a review of this episode that night, or last night, because I'm going to put it up tonight, with the last episode for two reasons, which is A, I wanted to do two separate videos because I figured doing one big video would be a little too long, and the other reason is I was kind of doing other things during this episode, so I wanted to rewatch it to make sure that I got all the details. So the episode starts off in one of the hunters' lair, and there's three werewolves chained to like a chain link fence that can be electrified. Two werewolves named Zhang and Tierney, and Theo is there, and they're being hit with a cattle prod by a hunter whom is revealed to be Schrader, whom is the creepy orderly from Ike House who kept on jabbing a needle into Lydia and tried to jab one into her neck, and so eventually through goading, Theo manages to break free of their binds by having the electrical current is making the wiring on the fence link hot, which is burning through the zip ties that they're stuck on, and he attacks him and hooks him up to the fence and convinces the other two to go find Scott. And he also finds out that they are members of Satomi's pack, the last remaining survivors of Satomi's pack. Apparently, Satomi's dead, and of course we know Brett and Lori are dead. So they all go off. But then shortly after they make topside, they're intercepted by Stilinski, who is arresting the three of them for murder. So back in the sheriff's station, you kind of find out what's happening, and it's revealed that they had murdered some hunters because they went after their pack, and so then Theo uses this as like, hey, can I get out of here? And that's like proof that he wasn't a part of it because he's not a member of their pack. But going on, get to shortly the same time, Deaton is back in this episode, and he's in Eichenhaus, and he an orderly takes him down to the closed unit, and he tries to make it to Hallwin's cell to see if he can figure out what the heck he was guarding in the Wild Hunt. But halfway down the hallway, he just feels a feeling of dread, and he goes into his cell and manages to find something on the wall, and he breaks off a piece of the stone on the wall, and like 30 seconds later he comes out and there's a drawing on the stone, but he doesn't know what it is. So back at the sheriff's station, Scott, Malia, Lydia, Liam, and Quinn, the werewolf that they met at the end of the last episode, are at the sheriff's station. They're trying to argue for him to let the two werewolves go because the hunters are going to come, and especially since Quinn says that a deputy was the one who shot her. And so they make the argument that the sheriff is like, he doesn't believe that one of them's a hunter, he knows them. But then Liam's like, yeah, but everybody's getting scared, maybe somebody would react in a way that wouldn't work. So shortly thereafter, it's the hunters, the lights come from outside, and it's revealed that the place is basically surrounded by hunters who want the two werewolves, kind of in retaliation for what they did. And so the sheriff goes out and he tries to talk to Monroe, in which she gives a speech where she talks about tectonic plates coming together, and there's two ways that can be relieved: with smaller quakes that relieve the pressure, or from sinking a city, which is obviously an analogy to what they want. They want to kill these two werewolves as a means to alleviate the pressure than have like some terrible catastrophe happen. And the sheriff's kind of not having any of it. And so as this is going on, Scott and them decide that, okay, we're going to fight our way out. There's only like a dozen of them, and surprisingly Lydia's the one who suggests this. So they all get ready for a fight to go out. They get Zhang and Tierney out of their cell. But before they go in, the sheriff comes in. He says, "No, we're not doing this. We have until midnight." So, and then, like, kind of at this time, we kind of see like Malia's getting freaked out, so the fear is starting to affect them as well. And you see, all kinds of other stuff, like a lot of the deputies start getting scared and things like that. But we'll get to that in a second. After that, we see how Corey and Mason, they're trying to figure out, what could be in the Wild Hunt that, what's so dangerous they had to keep it in the Wild Hunt. And they figure, oh wait, well, what if we start at the source? What if we look at the wolves and see what caused them? So they go to the animal clinic, and I'll just do this whole section of the episode. Eventually, they run into Deaton, and so they're all kind of working towards the same goal. And Deaton shows them the tablet that he found, but then Corey can see the other half of the image, so he kind of finishes drawing it, and Deaton reveals that it is that it's a creature called. Oh, give me a second. I'm trying to find it because it has an interesting name. Oh, give me 1 second. Oh, God. I think it's called the Anokti, or Double Face. Because I have a listing thing here pulled up. And it's essentially, what they kind of determine is that it's quite possibly two creatures that are so disharmony. And it's actually based off of a Native American myth, a real-life myth. And so if these two creatures come together, supposedly that's when all this is going to happen. So I'm not sure if they're trying to imply that that they've already come together, or that they are trying to, and that we haven't seen anything yet. But back at the jailhouse, you see that a lot of the deputies are starting to get kind of restless, and the power goes out. And it's like, oh, what's happening? And so, but eventually it's revealed that Nolan had tried to sneak in to the sheriff's station, and he basically pleads that, they can't know that I failed. So they take him down, they chain him up right in front of the holding cell. But it's revealed to be a trap. It's revealed to be a trap because one of the deputies, I forget the name, but the one who attacked Quinn, sets off like a smoke grenade, and not Freud, that's the actor's name, Nolan tries to use this as a means to try to poison Zhang and Tierney with purple wolfsbane, but Liam catches him. So they chain him up in a room, but the fear is getting to some of the deputies, causing one to hang himself and the other one to shoot herself. So they're kind of, reluctant. So the fear is starting to get to everyone. And during this time, Scott and them find out what really happened. So Tierney and Zhang, so their eyes and they're blue, and that's because their pack was murdered. Satomi tried to reason with them, and she was gunned down, much like the rest of their pack. So they just found out some of the names of the hunters and killed them, and they're not even sure if they were the ones who actually did it. They could have been innocent, and they just did it. So Scott's kind of having like a conflict of interest, which is a great kind of parallel. He has the conversation earlier with the sheriff. The sheriff's like, these two were convicted of murder. And Scott says, yeah, but they're going to get killed. Whereas now Scott's like, I don't want to help them. They killed innocent people. And then where sheriff goes, this is war. Sometimes, there's not really innocent or guilty. There's just one side or the other. And so eventually, things start to derail even further. Monroe has Gabe shoot a crossbow bolt into the sheriff's station that has Brett's the cross number. So Scott devises a plan where he wants to take the two dead bodies of the deputies out and make them seem like they are the werewolves, in which it's almost bought until Monroe asks to see the tattoos, because they have balancing stone tattoos, which is kind of like their pack symbol. How Scott has the two circles and things like that. That's their pack symbol. But before things can escalate, Scott's dad shows up, and he's like a negotiator. And so he negotiates that, okay, we need to, de-escalation is the key. So Zhang and Tierney get sent off, and they're being taken off by the FBI to like a holding facility, and they're being moved. And the rest of the Supernaturals basically all have to agree to leave Beacon Hills. So they don't actually properly explain it. I assume that Scott's dad knows about the supernatural. I assume that he's in now. I guess maybe they'll clarify it in 2 weeks when the next episode airs. But I assume. So, everybody's fairly convincing. Like, Corey convinces Mason that he's leaving, and Scott convinces his dad that he's leaving, and you get like a nice Scott and Malia moment. But between the two of them, which was a couple in this episode, and then they make it look like they leave, but Corey gets a message to Mason that, hey, that we're still there, and they go to the animal clinic, and he's like, yeah, what do you think we were going to do, run? And that's kind of where the episode ends. So yeah, this was another fairly good episode. I think that, Mason says the line, oh, so we're going to fight back now. So I think the fun parts are going to start going forward. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things in these episodes. I like they keep that we're kind of the mystery behind this creature is getting unraveled by this thing called the Two-Face. In addition to that, we're seeing more Scott and Malia stuff, which I think is working. Scott comforts Malia when she starts freaking out in the sheriff's station, and then later, and they kind of hold hands in Scott's room, and she picks up a bag and they go off. And then also, it very much looks like next episode is the culmination of their relationship. It kind of, in a lot of the preview stuff, there's I've seen the two of, it's not in the actual trailer, but it looks like there's two of the shots where the two of them, kiss is in it. So I think that's going to I think we're finally going to see that happening going forward. And so yeah, and then Theo's back, which is good. There's a lot of people coming back in this episode. A lot of interesting things, Deaton was back. Theo's back. Scott's dad is back. This episode also has Tierney, who's played by Dylan's sister, which I just thought was cool that she was in it. I thought she was going to be a bigger role. That's what I had heard, but I guess that's not the case. So, yeah. It's weird because now we're only a month into these new episodes, and mostly because they just debuted 2 episodes tonight. We're already halfway through these final 10 episodes. There's only 5 episodes left. But thankfully, we get a little bit of time to decompress after this, because since next week's the VMAs, there isn't going to be any new episodes. So we have to wait until September 3rd for the next episode called Triggers, which seems, again, there's some Liam and Theo are going to team up, and again, I'm getting curious. It's going to start ramping up because there's that episode, and then episode 7's called Werewolves of London. So I that basically means that either next episode towards the end of next episode, or the episode after, or in episode 17, that Jackson and Ethan are going to show up. So we're going to start getting more character returns. I hope people like Kate and Deucalion start to show up soon too. That they're not all coming back towards the end, but yeah, they did a bunch of cool things. I was just curious, what happened to Satomi? So she's dead, and that's kind of sucks because I was almost kind of hoping that, hey, we'd get a cameo from her. But yeah, that's about all for this episode. So I'm going to put this up. We're not going to have another episode for 2 weeks, and even if there was an episode next week, I don't know if I'd put it up immediately because next week's the Game of Thrones Season 7 finale, which after finally watching episode 6, I'm pretty excited for. But thanks for watching. Again, go subscribe to Plugged On, because that's where you're going to get a lot more videos like this, because really the only videos I post on this channel is Teen Wolf. Maybe I'll do The Walking Dead. Probably not, because I don't know if I care enough to do The Walking Dead week in and week out. But either way, thank you for watching. See you later.